Sometimes the world feels full of heavy moments that drown out the quieter ones. This is 10 Better Minutes, a place to hear stories that often go unnoticed but matter just the same. Here, you will find recent stories that show a more balanced picture of life. Not ignoring struggles, but gently reminding us there is more going on than just what weighs us down. Today, we will listen to the slow growth of a wild herd in Azerbaijan and the rescue of a dog who held on through days of rubble and chaos. But first, let us begin with a look at grassroots football and how it is helping communities come together again, both on the field and beyond. There is something wonderfully reassuring about the way sport can come home to the people who actually make it matter. In a new issue of Positive News magazine, editor Tom Pattinson introduces what is coming out on July 8th, 2026, and the heart of it is grassroots football. He reflects on how the game can feel like family and community life, starting with Luton Town, and then widening out to show the rebuilding that is already happening, pitch by pitch. Before that rebuilding, the picture is clear. Elite sport has drifted away from the communities that built it. Costs can put the experience out of reach, and where money becomes the main driver, it can leave less room for belonging. Tom Pattinson points towards stadiums and match days that do not always welcome everyone as they should. The good action, though, is practical and close to home. The magazine highlights clubs and community teams run by volunteers, places where children, newcomers, and local people can connect, learn, and help shape what happens next. Instead of sport being only something you attend, it becomes something you participate in, together. The issue connects the dots between physical health, mental well-being, and social connection, showing that football can support more than fitness. As the World Cup continues in North America, the message in these pages stays steady. When sport is made by communities, it helps people feel hopeful again side by side. Cover photograph credited to Sam Bush. In moments when everything feels shaken, it helps to remember that listening closely can make a difference. Today's story is about one small sound that pulled hope back into the open. A 6-year-old dog named Buddy was trapped beneath the collapsed rubble of his home for 8 days, and then, on Thursday, rescuers in Carabaleta, Venezuela, heard faint barking. They did not ignore it. Instead, they carefully searched through the debris, broke through the rubble, and worked their way to him through a small opening. In a video from the scene, you can see Buddy, dust-covered, being gently pulled closer while the rescuers cheered, their voices turning hard work into something like encouragement you can hear. Buddy was weak and badly dehydrated, but he was otherwise remarkably unharmed, and that mattered. The weeks and days that follow are always about steady care, water, and rest, but the hardest part had already happened, because he was found alive. What stays with me is how patience and attention became action. One tiny bark, met with human hands and calm determination, turned desperate waiting into a real rescue. You know that quiet moment after a long day, when a safe decision feels almost invisible? This story follows that kind of choice, and how it turned into something bigger than a single night. In Montana, a group of volunteers called the Montana Bar Fairies gets out on early summer nights and tucks gift cards under windshield wipers. The cards go to the cars and trucks whose owners took a cab home instead of driving drunk. Someone like Jesse, or Beverly, or Grace, or Kate makes the rounds, leaving behind a small reward that says, "We saw you choose safety." It is simple, it is careful, and it is timed for the same hour when no one wants to take credit, only to make it home. The best part is what happens next. People discover the gift cards instead of a ticket, and that small surprise spreads. What began in the Flathead Valley grows through local bar events, and even shows up at gatherings like the Whitefish Winter Carnival. A Montana Bar Fairies TikTok video collected about 142,000 views, helped along by volunteers who shared the effort, including Shannon and Brittany, who left 20 gift cards totaling $100 worth of coffee in Kalispell. And then the mission widens. Their volunteer acts become a nationwide push, supporting families impacted by drunk driving and advocating for stronger DUI laws. It feels like hope in motion, one kindness at a time until the whole community is watching for safer choices. You know that feeling when something ordinary, like a soccer match, turns into more than just a game? In Burlington, that shift is happening on purpose, and it is pretty inspiring to watch. Vermont Green Football Club shows up for the community in the small ways that add up. At home games, they make it easy to arrive by bike or public transit, with free bike parking handled by Local Motion, and riders entered into a raffle for small prizes. Even the practical stuff has a purpose. Their porta-potty partner recycles and turns human waste into fertilizer, so the day leaves a lighter footprint. And before anyone even starts thinking about the score, the club sets the welcome table with non-profit tables and matchday spotlights, partnering with net zero-aligned organizations like Juba Star FC and Migrant Justice. During the women's team effort, fans even raffled a Sam Mewis game-worn jersey, raising over $6,000 for the Vermont Immigration Legal Defense Fund. The fan group Green Mountain Boys helped raise about $25,000 more for the same cause. At the end, it was hard not to feel connected, especially when the stands stayed full and the club grew into a sold-out, engaged crowd. What stays with me is how trust in people looks in real life, not in big speeches, but in choices you can make at the gate and in a community deciding to stand together while they cheer. It is easy to think of conservation as something distant, but sometimes it looks like a quiet plan, a careful move, and then small signs of life returning to the landscape. This is one of those stories from northern Azerbaijan. In Shahdag National Park, Worldwide Fund for Nature and partners worked to bring European bison back into the wild. The team began planning in 2012, and after years of preparation, the first European bison were released in 2019. 12 European bison were translocated from Germany to Shahda, giving the project a living starting point on a ground that had been severely degraded after Soviet-era overuse. What makes this effort feel especially real is what happened next. WWF Azerbaijan has been watching the herd grow, and so far there have been 25 wild-born calves. Each birth is a practical marker of success, but it is also a sign that the habitat can support recovery when people choose to steward it with patience. WWF Azerbaijan head Elshad Askarov described Shahdas as a place needing restoration, and the growing herd supports that vision. The plan is already being treated as a model that could be adapted in other European countries, including Portugal, the United Kingdom, and Romania. Hope, in this story, is not a slogan. It is something measured in calves, in steady monitoring, and in the belief that a degraded place can once again become a home. As always, I have a helpful tip for your mental reset, and one that can bring a little more steadiness and joy back into your day. Today, we are talking about hope and why it is not just a feeling that shows up when everything is going well. Hope is a discipline. It is something you practice, like brushing your teeth or taking a short walk. Feelings move like weather. Discipline moves like a plan. Hope asks you to choose a direction even before you feel ready to believe the outcome. Try this. When your mind starts spiraling, do not wait for the perfect mood. Choose a small, true next step. Tell yourself, this is what I can do today. Then follow through, even if it is simple. Send the message. Tidy the space for 10 minutes, drink water, sit in silence, and name one thing that is still good. Each action is proof you are not giving up. You can also build hope by training your attention. Notice what you want, not only what you fear. Let hope be the sentence you repeat, the practice you return to, the way you keep showing up. Hope is not passive. It is a decision you make again and again. We made it to the end of this episode, and I really appreciate you spending part of your time with me today. If the news cycle has been feeling loud or heavy, I hope this gave you a steadier kind of proof that kindness still shows up in everyday places, and people still choose decency when it counts. Not everything is fixed, and not every problem is small, but there is still goodness moving quietly through the world. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.